And doesn't it feel great to be alive wherever in the world you are tonight? Hello, I'm Luke Michael Howard, clinical hypnotist and owner of Hypnosis here tonight for the Hypnosis Show. I'm speaking to you now. I'm looking at the people on YouTube. I'm looking on the people on Facebook. I'm looking to the people on Instagram. I'm looking to the people on X. I'm looking to the people on Twitch. If I'm looking here right now, I'm looking to you, the people on the tickety talk. So if you see me looking here and you see me looking here, it's because I've got multiple cameras on me. So as always, we're going to give people a little opportunity to join us today before we get into the general discourse of tonight's hypnosis show. And tonight's hypnosis show is basically, is smoking a physical addiction? As in, it's like actually in your bones, it's in your bloodstream. As if you were to stop it cold turkey, you could potentially die, that your body is reliant on it, and to take it away could cause your body to go into cardiac arrest or something. Or is it a mental, emotional addiction? Is it just something, if we take it away, you'd get upset, you'd get angry, you would get triggered, you would get annoyed, you would get sad, you would get grumpy. And maybe you'd be like, well, when I usually enjoy my morning coffee, I smoke and now I miss it. After sex, I would do it. Now I miss it. When I have my 16 million breaks at work every day, now I can't have them. Now I miss it. Is it a mental? Is it an emotional addiction? So what do you think it is, folks? Do you think smoking, be that cigarettes, be that vaping, be that even weed, do you think it's a physiological addiction? Or do you think it is a mental and emotional addiction? And I'm not here to say one is worse than the other, by the way. I'm just curious to what you think it is. So below in the comments, I want you to put if you think it's a physical addiction or if it's a mental, emotional addiction. Put in the comments below. And if you just joined us, also say hi in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up or say hi. Hey, Tina. How are you, Tina? Tina is one of my successful clients. You doing well, Tina? How are things going for you? So, they've done lots of studies on this when it relates to smoking. Is it physiological or is it mental? Oh, I forgot to do my catchphrases. Let me go back and do those. I did one of them. Here's the other one. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. Let me talk to you. All right. So back to the deal at hand. Is it a physical addiction? Is it an emotional addiction? Well, about half the scientists, about half the specialists say that smoking cigarettes is a physiological addiction, as in it's trapped in your body, much like a heroin addict would have or an alcoholic would have, right? But the other half of the scientists and the other half of the studies out there say actually it's not physiological, it's mental, it's emotional, which can be just as bad as physiological. Now, as somebody who's been working with smokers for 25 years now in my hypnosis practice, again, be that cigarettes, be that vaping, be that weed, half my clients think it's physiological, half my clients think it's mental, half of them think, well, it's not half, probably a third of them will think it's both. Honestly, I don't care. I don't care if it's physiological. I don't care if it's mental or emotional. I don't care if it's a mixture of them both. Hypnosis gives the best tools out there to deal with the physiological, if indeed it is a physiological addiction, or to deal with the mental or emotional, if indeed it is a mental and emotional addiction. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how that works in a few moments. I'm just going to go over to the comments now. If you've just joined us, say hello in the comments below. Jeff has joined us on TikTok. Hello, Jeff. Karen has joined us on TikTok. And Lamox has joined us as well. Say hi, guys, in the comments below. And what do you smoke? Do you smoke cigarettes? Do you smoke weed? Are you on patches? Are you on gum? What is your ailment? Just going to read some of the comments here. Gregory Boyce. Hey, Gregory, how are you? Gregory's joined from LinkedIn. Hey, Gregory, nice to meet you. Yeah, so in all honesty, I tend to believe it's more emotional and psychological. And then some people are like, but Luke, but what if I quit smoking for just a day, I start to get really grumpy. I'm like, well, what's grumpy? Is it a physiological disorder? No, it's an emotion. Well, Luke, I get really depressed, really sad if I can't smoke. Is that a physiological response or emotional? It's emotional. Oh, Luke, I'll get like in such a rage if I can't get a cigarette. Oh, I'll just get such a rage where I'm just so moody and so irritable and unpleasant to be around. What's that? Is that a physiological response in the body, or is it emotional psychology? You know the response to it. Okay. Does it mean that, like, here's the thing. If it was purely a physiological thing, there would be rehab centers out there for smoking. And I live in North America, and for the life of me, I've never ever found a rehab center for smoking cigarettes. I found rehab centers that deal with alcohol addiction, cocaine, heroin, crystal meth, to name but a few. But I've never found a rehab center that just you go in for your 28-day rehab in this special place you pay an awful lot of money for, and their job is just to get you off of cigarettes. And there's a reason behind that. It's because it's not physically addictive. Gregory, nicotine. Gregory says, thanks for joining in, Gregory. Nicotine, the chemical addiction, but it's the emotional problem too. It's probably why we smoke, because of our stress levels. Yeah, I agree. And it's okay to have a difference of opinion, folks. For me, I'm totally all that. I'm okay with that. I'll just say, based on my experience of working with people, and if there is a physiological addiction to it, and you can study this, don't take my word for it, by the way. You can go on Google Scholar and check this out. But within 48 hours of your last cigarette or your last intake of nicotine, whether that be patches or gum or e-cigarette, within 48 hours, 95% of that nicotine is out of your system. It's gone, it's kaput, which is interesting then, isn't it? Because sometimes I'll get clients that have stopped or temporarily gone on a hiatus from smoking. And they stopped for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, some for 6 months, some for a year, some for longer. And I say, well, what caused you to start smoking again? Because we know, even if it was a physiological addiction, we know in 48 hours, 95% of that nicotine is gone. So if you've gone a week, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years without smoking, the nicotine is gone from your body. So what causes people to start smoking again? And oftentimes, I hear, I was in a stressful situation. I had one client that said, Luke, I came to see me, 9 months ago when I had a physical office. And I was a smoker and you helped me quit. And they messaged me 9 months later. Like, so what's going on? Oh, I started smoking again. To which I'd say, oh, okay, let's do a top-up session then. But what happened? He's like, well, Luke, it's just had a terrible time. Like, over the last 9 months, my wife left me. Took my little boy, can't see him anymore. Oh, I lost my job. I've got terminal cancer, and my car broke down. Oh, and I got beat up and mugged in the street. All within 9 months of us doing the session. To which I'd say, I'm really sorry to hear that all those terrible things happened. Generally were. And then you started smoking. It's like, yeah, of course I started smoking after all that. To which I'd say, so you started smoking, and then your wife came back, the cancer disappeared, you got your job back, you got your little boy back, and that beating that you took in the street didn't happen. And he was like, no, it just added an extra problem to my life. Okay, so there's no real reason to smoke other than people enjoy it on some level and are getting a need met 100% on some level. But with the right tools, it's actually very, very easy, very, very simple to get off of nicotine without any withdrawals. Before I bang on a little bit, I'm just going to see if anyone else has anything else to say. Good Vibes Only on TikTok says, hello, I just wanted to say you're amazing and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Well, good vibes. That's lovely. Thank you so much for saying that. See, Gregory's posted here. What's Gregory? Gregory, I was an alcoholic and I went to AA and I switched to cigarettes because they're all outside smokers. And oh boy, I was having a problem. I've been 30 years of cigarettes. That's great, Gregory. Good to hear. It's amazing to hear. So you're off alcohol, off cigarettes. Good for you, Gregory. So AA helped you with the alcohol. That's good. I hear a lot of negativity about AA. And, you know, full disclosure, whatever somebody uses to get over their affliction or addiction, and it helps them generally, then I'm all for it. Doesn't matter if it's me, doesn't matter if it's hypnosis, if it's AA, if it's Alan Carr's book or some other method. If someone gets off of the drug, the affliction, and it works for them, more power to them. Just from people that I've spoke to, Gregory, AA, a lot of people have tried AA that have come to see me for alcohol and they were not successful with it. I heard some horror stories, but I'm actually very happy that you were successful with it. That's good to hear. Congratulations on the 30 years of cigarettes. That's great as well. Who else has joined us? Yeah, if you've just joined us, put your name in your comments. How it works is I have a little discourse. Tonight's discourse is about helping you to deal with the withdrawal, whether that be mental, whether that be emotional or physiological, from cigarettes, and also taking your questions. If you are watching this after the fact, then please do still leave your comments below, and I will do my bestest to get back and answer your questions. Okay, so let's see who else is watching right now. All right. That is interesting, isn't it? I'm just looking at my little heads up to see where all the people are coming from, and I see Gregory is watching on the LinkedIn, but LinkedIn doesn't come up on my little thingamajig. Oh, well. Just technical stuff, guys. I've upgraded the whole studio here, so hopefully the camera should look better with the lighting and so forth, and the setup to have a more professional look for these lives. So yeah, so even if it was physiological withdrawal, and again, the jury's out. 50% of the scientists say yes, other 50% say no. But even if it was physiological, 48 hours, that's 2 days, 95% of the nicotine is left in your system. So if you still think you're going through withdrawals after you've had your last intake of nicotine after 3 days, it's not physiological. It may feel physical. Those emotions may be so strong that you think they're a physiological problem, but it's not. It's no longer physical anymore. Even whether it is or it isn't, it certainly isn't physiological after 3 days. But then there's a more complicated thing, actually, is if it was purely physical, it would be a lot easier to deal with, right? You get some medicine, you'd have a surgery and it'd be done. But when it gets psychological, when it gets emotional, it gets a bit murky, it gets a bit messy because we're not sure where it starts, where it ends. And oftentimes things like smoking is indelibly linked to other activities. And, you know, I've talked about it before. It might be enjoying your morning coffee. I hear that with my clients. What am I going to do, Luke, when I enjoy my morning coffee and I can't smoke anymore? What am I going to do after sex? That's my celebratory cigarette. What am I going to do when my hands hit my driving wheel every morning and I light up a cigarette at the same time? You know, there's these what we call associations, these anchors in neurolinguistic programming, when we do two things and they get indelibly linked up, stuck together. And so forth. So oftentimes that can be the biggest challenge, is breaking those ties. So you can still enjoy your coffee without having to smoke. You can still enjoy sex without having to smoke. You can still drive your car without smoking. You can go outside, have a time out, have a breath of fresh air, have a break at work, have a break from the kids without having to smoke. Okay, you can do all of those things. Just going to see if we have anything over. The Hypno Pixie is on the Instagram. We've got Fox on Instagram. We've got Glover Man London on Instagram. And, I hope I'm going to butcher your name here. Alanis, spelled in a special way, on Instagram as well. Hello. By the way, folks, if you're watching, I'm speaking to the TikTok people as well now. Lamex. What do you smoke? Are you smoking cigarettes? Is that your issue? Are you vaping? Are you using the e-cigarette? Are you smoking weed? Are you using gum? Are you using patches? Are you using another method to try and quit smoking, cease smoking, end smoking? Put it in the comments below, and I would be interested to know what you are doing. Just read some of the comments here on the old Instagram. All right, who else we got here? We've got Kim, we've got Kerry, we've got Becky, we've got Jeff. What's all going on here? We've got Pauline, Dante, Randy on the Instagram. Okay. So the thing is withdrawals. People often, one of the three biggest fears when I meet someone who wants to quit, a big part of them wants to quit, conscious mind, unconscious, the logical mind. The unconscious mind, the subconscious mind is like, I don't want you to quit. And your unconscious controls the whole show. Your unconscious, your subconscious mind controls your endocrine system, your heart rate, your blood circulation, storing of your thoughts, moving your body. It's basically running the show. But it has the emotional intellect of a 5-year-old, which means it gets upset very, very quickly. So in a battle on a pattern, a behavior, an addiction you want to get rid of, what do you think is going to win? Your conscious mind, your logical mind, which controls less than 5% of what's going on in here and here? Or the unconscious, subconscious mind that controls 95% of what goes on in here and here? Yeah, it's not even close. The unconscious, the emotional response is going to win only 100% of the time. It's not a logical thing. Smoking doesn't make logical sense if you think about it. You're inhaling, Mr. B agrees. Smoking doesn't make any logical sense. You're killing yourself. You know you're doing this. Cigarettes have at least have 2,500 chemicals, of which, again, Mr. B agrees, 35 have been proven to cause cancer. You know this. Even on the package, it says cancer. On the package, it says death on it, right? But people still do it when they smoke cigarettes. Okay, so it's not a logical thing. It's an emotional response or a response from the unconscious mind, which is stored. The emotions in the unconscious mind. So having a logical, I'm going to stop on this date and I'm going to follow this plan, you could do that to your blue in the face, but it isn't going to help you, okay? Because it's an emotional response. If you're trying to deal with an emotional response in a logical way, it's a bit like using all of your force to try and push through a door to get to the other side. You could use all the force in the world to try and get to the other side of that bloody door, but if it's a door that needs to be pulled and not pushed, you are never going to get through the other side. So by using your conscious mind, it's like trying to push through this door, and it could use all the force, all the willpower, but it will never beat the unconscious, subconscious mind, which is essentially just need to pull to open the door. So you need to stop pushing and start pulling. So we dealt with the three biggest fears that I find for people who want to quit smoking are, Luke, cravings. I'm fearful of the cravings, and we dealt with that on last week's live. If you weren't here for that, you'll find that in the archives on whatever social you're watching right now. This week is about the withdrawals, and next week is going to be about the third biggest fear that people have when they quit smoking is gaining weight. Am I going to gain weight if I quit smoking, go to another illicit drug to get my jollies off if I'm not actually smoking? So we're going to cover that next week. But the other one on the cravings is actually in the archives. Sharon has joined us. Hello, Sharon. How are you? If you have any questions on anything so far, guys, please put it in the comments below. If you're live, as in right now, I'll answer them live. If you're joining us after the fact, then I will answer. My best is after the fact. Hypno Pixie, Mr. B is quite passionate about stopping smoking. Yes, Mr. B is very passionate. He does not like smokers. He does not like the smell of smoke. He will meow. He will swipe. He will bite if there is a smoker about. He just doesn't like it. Hey, it's Conrad has joined us on Instagram as well. So yeah, my belief is it is not a physiological addiction. Am I the be all end all in this? No. Am I open to other people having different opinions? Sure. But it doesn't matter to me if it's at the end of the day, if it's physiological or if it's mental, emotional. Hypnosis has the tools because we ain't dealing with the conscious mind, the bit that's pushing the door that needs to be pulled. Back to the metaphor from earlier on. No, we're simply just going to stop pushing and just pull. Right, and we're going to pull by using your unconscious mind. It's very easy because here's the thing: if you come to me and you've got an issue with eating, you're eating too much, then irrespective, even if you fast, sometimes you're going to need to eat, right, in your life, even if you've got an issue with eating. But when it comes to smoking, you never need to smoke again. You can actually just switch it off. Smoking is as simple as is on or off. And I often use this analogy. It's a bit like being pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not pregnant. You can't be a little bit pregnant. You can't be a little bit of a smoker. You either smoke or you don't smoke. Whether you smoke 1 a day, whether you smoke 50 a day, you're a bloody smoker. All right. You're a little bit pregnant. You can't be a little bit pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not. So smoking is very digital. It's on, it's off, it's black or white. So when it comes to hypnosis, it's very, very clean work to know if what we're doing is working and effective, because you just simply ain't doing the behavior anymore. It's that simple to judge. And really, I give people a bunch of tools, obviously by rewiring their brain in hypnosis. So a lot of those ties, like I say, the smoking in the car, the smoke with the coffee, the smoke after sex, whatever, we break those ties so people can do those particular activities without needing to smoke anymore. So they're broken down. We've destroyed those neurological ties, which means they're not together anymore. So 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 in this instance. But also, people don't realize that actually it's not really proven that nicotine is 100% psychological, physiological. It could be. There could be an element of it, but most of it is psychological. Most of it is emotional. That doesn't mean it's easy to deal with, by the way. It can still sometimes be worse. I've had clients I helped get over heroin and crystal meth, and years of alcohol abuse. And you know what they said to me? Smoking was harder than quitting heroin, Luke. Smoking was harder to quit smoking than to quit alcohol, Luke. And I was an alcoholic. That's what they say. Luke, smoking was harder for me to quit than crystal meth, because it's a different pathway in the body. But when you've got the right tools, it's actually very easy to get rid of. And if you go on over to my website, lukenosis.com, you'll see a whole bunch of pages, testimonials, videos, not just testimonials, but from Google, but also emails that people have sent me or texts that I've published on the site with permission, but also videos of clients I've worked with, and videos of clients I worked with 6, 7, 8 years ago, and I caught up with them, and they, kindly allowed me to do a little case study, little chat with them, a little interview, to find out how the last 5, 6, 7 years has been since we did our session. And you'll hear their stories, and it really is that simple. And I love that. I love catching up with people, not just after the session, but years down the line, so they can share the successes they have, how they saved their health, how they can run after their grandkids, watch their grandkids graduate, do the activities that they hadn't been able to do for 10 or 20 years because they were smoking, extended the back end of their life, and literally saved tens of thousands of dollars. That always makes me happy. So yeah, withdrawals, if there is a physical thing, it's done within 2 days, but the mental and emotional ties need to be broken. Hypnosis does that in a very clean, surgical way, certainly the way that I do it. There are some other hypnotists there that do a thing called suggestion-only hypnosis. I know this because it's what I used to do for the first few months when I started 25 years ago. And they say a lot of nice things when your eyes are closed, like you will not smoke, you will feel happy. And this does work, believe it or not. That's worked for about 30% of people. That might not sound a lot. It isn't. But in comparison to gum, which is about 10% successful, in comparison to patches, which is about 10% successful, Zybans, the medication, which is about 20% successful, it's more successful in all of those. But again, it doesn't really get to the core of the issue. The kind of hypnosis that I do is like a surgical hypnosis. It's like a cold-hearted surgeon going in there, and with your permission and with your unconscious mind's help, removing that belief, removing that malware, that Trojan from your head top computer, so it no longer influences you in your day. It's just a distant memory of something you used to do. It just doesn't bother you anymore. And it really is that simple, and it really is that easy. When I work with people, you just have to be ready. And how do you know you're ready? We always say, if you're watching me bang on for about like 20 minutes and you're a smoker, and that's what I'm talking about, like here, it's probably a good indication you're ready, that you're willing to spend your Wednesday evening, or whenever you're watching this, it's live on Wednesday, you know what that means, then it's probably an indication that you're ready. Being ready doesn't mean there isn't some fear or trepidation as to the unknown. What happens when you do finally quit smoking? What happens when you do work with this wonderful, crazy, tattooed, bearded hypnotist with a funny accent? Now, that's all natural. That's all a natural response to the unknown. We all have it. And it's okay to be a little bit cautious there. That's completely reasonable. But that's how you know. If it's like, whoa, no, I like smoking and I enjoy it, then more power to you. You know, my dad also liked smoking and enjoyed it, and he died. I wanted him to quit. He didn't. He lived his life. He didn't quit. And me and my little sister had to see him hooked up to all kinds of machines growing up, and had multiple heart attacks and triple bypass surgery and stroke after stroke after stroke. And we had to go through that, but he didn't want to quit. He was fully enjoying it. So if you're like my dad and you enjoy it, it probably shouldn't be watching this podcast, because it's not for you. More power to you if you want to do that. This is for the people that, no, I want to quit, a bit scared, bit cautious on how I go about it. I do these lives for you, so you get to know me and ask me questions in this environment. So it's like an open forum, or do they call it, a town hall, so to speak. So you get to know, like, and trust me, and find out and ask me questions about what it is I do. Because the only other way to get access to me is to book a screening call with me. And the purpose of booking a screening call is because you want help with your ailment, be that smoking or some other kind of addiction or emotional issue or blockage in your life. And you can do that by going over to my website, lukenosis.com. For everyone other than TikTok, it's scrolling at the bottom of the screen right now. And for TikTok, it's on my TikTok page, Luke, LUKENOSIS.com, and you can book a screening call with me if there's an issue you're having in your life and you finally do want to get rid of it. But you have to be willing to get rid of it. It can't be like, you know what, if there was a problem scale of 0 to 10, this problem's, and 10 is the biggest problem and 0 is the lowest, this problem's a 4, you should probably not call me, because it's not big enough a problem, right? But if that problem is a 7, an 8, a 9, a 10, I'd say that was sufficiently causing you enough suffering in your life, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, that would probably be a good opportunity and a good reason to give me a book a screening call with me, in fact, and see if I can help you to help yourself. Anyone else out there? So we're about 7:30 now, about 30 minutes in. We're going to start wrapping things up. However, if you do have some questions, now would be a good time to put those in the comments below. Again, hey, Maeve, how are you? Maeve has joined us on TikTok, and Bet has joined us on TikTok, and Sandra has joined us on TikTok, and Mallory and Orion and Dom and Sharon. Oh, it's the same Sharon. Have all joined on TikTok. But yeah, so next week's discourse, next week's live, next week's town hall meeting, if you will be on, I want to quit smoking, but I'm scared of gaining weight. Okay. And if I were to sum up everyone's number one problem when it comes to stopping smoking, if I distilled it in not one sentence, but one word, what stops people from quitting smoking? Number one thing, whether it's because I don't want to gain weight, I'm scared of the withdrawals, I'm scared of the cravings, scared of losing a friend. I had that on, more than a few occasions. Number one reason is fear. The number one reason people don't quit smoking is through fear. Okay. And in hypnosis, we can help you to break through, get over, get under, dismantle, disembody that fear once and for all. So it's gone. And the only thing you're losing is that cancer stick. And in its place, you get to create the kind of life that you want, where you get to have the kind of health that you want, where you get to save thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars each and every year for doing nothing other than not smoking anymore and feeling totally happy and being able to hang out with your friends if they indeed smoke, or family members. Sometimes people are like, well, you know, will I have to replace all my friends? Not necessarily. You know, a lot of my clients, friends, family, even partners will continue to smoke, and it just doesn't bother them anymore. And they don't become annoying and be like, oh, you need to stop smoking because it's bad for you. Because if you tell a family member that, it just gets their back up, right? They just don't want to spend time with you. You annoy them, right? The best thing is if people know of you as being a smoker and they see you quit, and they're like, I haven't seen you smoke. What's going on? Then you tell them about the hypnosis. Then you tell them about the work that we did and how you managed to quit smoking. That's when they're ready to come on board. But if you preach to them and they're not ready, they'll just close down and they'll resent it. So I always tell my clients, don't tell anyone that you're quitting smoking. But when they see that you're no longer smoking and they start asking you, then you can start to share with them the experience. And that's the best way to help to change someone in your life that you feel that should quit smoking, is change yourself, and just by proxy being around them, at some point they're going to ask you the question, hey, I haven't seen you smoke in a couple of weeks, couple of months. What's going on? What's your secret? Now they're open. Now you can tell them about the hypnosis and what you did and share your story and not come across all preachy, right? Yeah. So just about to wrap up, I'm just going to see if there's any more questions. Double X Needle has joined us on the Instagram. If you've got any questions, put them below. Just seeing what's going on the X. Anyone got any questions on the X? Let's have a look. Boom, boom. Sure, the sound is on. Yes. Okay. And we're on the TikTok. So anyone got any questions on the TikTok right now? Okay. All right, folks. So I think I'm going to call it a night. But as always, if you need any help quitting smoking or any other kind of addictions, go to lukenosis.com. It should be scrolling below me. Book your free screening call with me if you're on TikTok. Lukenosis, the name of my username.com, and you'll find a little screening tab. Book your call with me, and let's make, we're just in the last week of January now. Let's really turn your life around and change it in the first month of the year, so you get to save thousands of dollars and potentially save your life. As always, pleasure speaking with you tonight. Until next week, same Luke time, same Luke place, same Luke channel. Always believe.